Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, Vikings Vent Line right here on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Vikings Vent Line lives on Sundays here during the off season. Of course, during the regular season, we have fans join Mackie, Judd, and myself, and we bring in a bunch of different fans throughout the course of the show right after the game, immediately after it ends. But in the off season, I still like to talk to Vikings fans about what's happening in the off season and their expectations for the upcoming year. So if you'd like to be on this show, if you have takes that you want to sling about the Vikings, this is the exact place you want to be. You can hit me up. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com for those who would like to join the show. Keep in mind, I get some emails here and there, but if I haven't responded, just shoot me another note, and I will gladly get in touch with you. If this is something you want to be a part of, believe me, I'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and do so. Hit me up. It is vikingsventline@gmail.com. So I try to get the banner at the bottom of the screen. The colors are all off. That's going to be as good as it gets as I fly the plane solo here. But yeah, vikingsventline@gmail.com. A quick shout out to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. As this weather is nice, you want to make sure that HVAC and that AC is good to go. And the good thing about Standard is, I know sometimes it's awkward that you don't want to call someone and do something over the phone these days. Well, here's a good thing. You can email, you can text Standard. You don't even have to talk to anyone to schedule someone to come out there, okay? So if that's not something you want to deal with, you don't feel comfortable explaining that, you can just get in touch with them via email or text. StandardHeating.com. Join their Smart Club, too, to get priority on maintenance requests and any discount repairs, too. So StandardHeating.com to learn more. Okay, let's get our guys Austin and Justin in here on Vikings Vent Line. Austin making his return, Justin making his first time. I got two guys that are dealing with moves in different ways here on Vent Line. Austin works in residential life here in the Twin Cities. Justin is physically moving out of his house right now. So guys, I'm glad. I was joking with you off the screen, or off the recording, that moving's probably the most stressful thing you can do. And if I can give you a 20-minute break here to talk Purple, I'm glad I can do that for you.
Much appreciated. It's going to be fun. I'm glad to de-stress a little bit.
Nice. And Justin, you're in Washington State, correct?
Moving from Oregon up north to Washington.
Okay. And then how did you become, were you born in Minnesota? How did you become a Vikings fan?
No, my Viking fan background comes from my stepdad. He is from Minnesota and then moved out to Oregon. He actually lives up in Seattle now.
Okay.
He's a Seattle Seahawks season ticket holder now, so he'll be there at week 13, and nice. I will too.
Nice. Yeah. That's a fun one. And I know it's the end of November. It's usually that game feels like it's always played in September, but at least hopefully not completely rainy and awful Seattle elements and weather for that time of year.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's start here because, I haven't really asked many fans about this throughout Vent Line in these offseason episodes, but I'll start with you, Justin. Are the Vikings finally going to be a threat running the football this year? So they have weapons, obviously, on offense. They have a first-year starting quarterback in McCarthy. They made the nice trade for Jordan Mason, which I really liked. That was kind of under the radar. Do you think the Vikings are actually a threat here to potentially be really effective at running the football?
Absolutely. They're like the main part, like Jordan Mason. Speaking of him, like I had a little shout out I wanted to give to other teams for this. Thank you, San Francisco. Thank you, Green Bay. I never thought I'd say that. Those two running backs are like worth their weight in gold for what we have paid for them. Like it's like we paid so much money for like Adrian Peterson, Dalvin Cook, and this is like the kickback we've gotten down the road. I love it. And those guys were worth their money, and like. These guys are worth every penny we're paying them, these running backs. And thank you to Indianapolis for half of the O-line. Mackie brings up how we've taken like essentially, 40% of a great running offense's O-line and applied it to us. So between that and drafting a guard in the first round, which I know a lot of people, I played O-line growing up, so I loved it. So it's biased, but like also like, it's just numbers. 5 of your guys are offensive linemen plus your tight end. So 6 of your 11 guys are your offense. It's not, you can't just have a couple of dudes like they did for a decade. Like I talked to you guys when I was on the show last year. My first game was going to the wild card game 10 years ago now. It's crazy how time flies. But when they played against Seattle, and it wasn't Blair Walsh's fault they missed that game. Their offensive line couldn't move Seattle ever. Like it was just this all game. And yeah, it was cold, but like stemming back from before that, the O-line for the Vikings, like it's just the tragic truth has been on a good year. Like last year, it was like, okay, like, and that's why the season went off the rail at the end. It wasn't because of Sam Darnold. Like, I mean, Darnold has his like flaws, but we all do. But 3 guys right in front of him were like not cutting it, and they're all gone. Thank you, O'Connell and Kwesi. Thank you. So yes, long-winded answer. Absolutely. I would not be surprised if they're like top 12, top 10 in like running metrics and stats this year.
Yeah. They haven't really, and I think it's a little bit of personnel, but they haven't really been under Kevin O'Connell a team that likes to run the football. They like to pass a lot. I look at the infrastructure stuff, and it just makes more sense to maybe be a threat to run the ball. Austin, how about you, though? Do you finally feel like this is tracking towards being a team that can effectively run the football?
Yeah, I think so. I think thinking about the team and like the sustainability of it, I think I was really hesitant heading into the offseason with was it Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler set to be on our roster? I still like have hopes for Ty Chandler, but that just isn't a running back room that I was fairly confident in. We know Aaron Jones is probably going to sit 1 or 2 games this year. Just he's not a 17-week guy, and that's I mean, just to be expected at this point. Not an issue. It's a tough position, as we all know. But I think George Mason really brings in that sense of next guy up. And like, even once Aaron Jones is ready to retire, or if we're ready to move on from him, I really like the idea of George Mason being, the guy that's going to be in that role. I think my favorite Vikings team that was just really effective at moving the ball with the run game, or particularly with running backs, was the 2017 team. Yeah. Was it Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon? Like, I just remember getting them out in the flat, the good like power runs. You had 2 different guys who brought 2 different styles. That's kind of how I see them. I think George Mason is like kind of more like, he's not like the same build at all, but like he's kind of more of that like, run through you kind of guy, where Aaron Jones is a little more shifty and fun. And then, when you got to put in Ty Chandler, he's kind of that same as Aaron Jones. So that does make me really excited for the run game. Justin, you covered it, but I think with, those 2 guys and then just a completely refortified offensive line, I think, even more so than like the running backs, I am just excited about the line and how they are going to be so protective of our guys carrying the football. That Seattle game, you really, that realizing it was 10 years ago, really, I had a moment where I'm like, oh, geez, like that was forever ago. But yeah, I just remember that. And I remember too many games where it was just, here and here, like, let's, open it up. Those really, explosive down the field run plays, I'm really looking forward to. So I'm feeling good. I think the running game is something that I am really looking forward to. And I think JJ McCarthy's ability to use his legs is also really exciting as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, what are your expectations, Justin, for JJ? So first-year quarterback, he's got weapons, and hopefully he's insulated. He's got a nice line here that we touched on. But what are kind of your expectations? I don't know if you have like raw numbers in mind, but what do you kind of think he's going to be able to do in his first year as the Vikings starting quarterback?
I did actually write down some numbers. And I just wrote down wins because, like, at the end of the day, that's what matters. QB wins. I fully expect, and I'd like to drink purple Kool-Aid. It's good. I'm expecting 14 wins again, or 15 even. Like, hear me out with the schedule. Like, it's tough, but it. Declan already talked about this. The Lions, good luck. Like, they have it way worse than we do. We got some of these beast teams coming to Minnesota. Like, that's amazing. And like the game in Seattle, like, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but like, it's not the Seahawks of old. Like, we won last year. I was there. They won against the Seahawks, and I think they can easily do that again. Like, I don't see like too many parts of the schedule where it's going to be like these couple weeks are like not winnable games, these 2 weeks in a row. Like, where they're like on the road like for 2 or 3 weeks against tough teams. Like the toughest stretch in that regard would be like Europe, which those 2 AFC North teams, like no, not trying to trash on them, they're just kind of mid though. And then the Giants and the Cowboys towards the end of the season, like I think there's been like a blessing from above with how the schedule breaks, honestly, all together. So I expect him to win like most of these games, just bearing health. Like, and with how things broke last year, it's so bizarre, like, and amazing at the same time. Like he completely repaired that meniscus, which is like, I think a blessing in disguise that happened last year. And Darnold did his thing. And like the culture has just been like rising. And now the car is better, like the car like super upgraded somehow. I don't know how it just did. And now it's probably a better driver in McCarthy. Like, yeah, I have that high expectation for him. And he's the highest drafted quarterback they've had. Yeah. And he was the 5th quarterback drafted last year. So like with all of the good things JJ has going that Thor and everyone has talked about who knows him, he has a chip on his shoulder to prove to 4 of the quarterbacks, I am better than you. I was the champion. Get out of the way. Let's go. Like that's my expectation, honestly. Like we've been the Vikings have been so good for so long. And now it's like, this is the highest drafted quarterback they've drafted. Let's go.
Yeah. It's exciting times. And yeah, I know people are kind of questioning if he can do this and step in, and you have 14 wins in the schedule, which is awesome. It's obviously probably even higher than where a lot of, I think, fans think they could be, but it's not completely out of the question either.
You guys all picked 12-5, I remember, right?
Yes,
with your
12-5.
It's going to go up, guys. I know it. Like it went up last year, right? Like
yeah, it did. The ceiling rose pretty quick, so it's possible. Austin, how about you though? What do you kind of expect from McCarthy this year?
Yeah, I'm really hoping for a Sam Darnold 2.0 experience. I think when I went into last season, I was really just hoping, give me to the wild card. If you win, win a playoff game, great. I really think I think it's a reasonable expectation to say that this team should be, I think that 12-win mark is reasonable. If JJ McCarthy plays exactly like Sam Darnold. The things I want him to perfect a little bit are, or like be better than Darnold at, are less interceptions, getting the ball out. I know we've talked a lot about the complex routes that KOC designs that kind of make you wait in the pocket a little bit. I want him to be able to, know that, but also be able to get that ball out when you need to. So I think that, getting back to the playoffs would be absolutely fantastic. It's always exciting. This past playoff was my first time living in the Twin Cities that we made it to the playoffs. So that was just like a fun vibe to be around. I think that that's going to be, better for the cities, better for, for the team culture, to get back there and say like, last year we knew like that was going to be Sam's only playoff game. There was speculation, but like, I think at the end of the day, we all kind of knew one and done. Sam Darnold, no more. I think that with McCarthy, if we can get to the, just get to the playoffs, to the tournament, if you will, then that's going to be a good taste of like, okay, here's what's to come. We can correct some things. But I think that with, the improved offensive line, with McCarthy, who I hope is just a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, I think generally like there's no reason that we shouldn't get there and hopefully, take that step up and win a playoff game. So my expectation is playoffs. I don't think that we'll win the NFC North, so I'm just calling wild card. I still think the Lions are pretty formidable, and I'm not as afraid of the Packers, but I think that their time is going to come that they're going to, pop again, get a couple more playoff wins under their belt. And Chicago does not scare me at all. I lived in Chicago for a little while. I have a vendetta against that city, and I just don't buy into any Chicago offseason hype. I know it comes around every year. It just makes me laugh because I need them to prove it to me that they're going to be worth the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Justin, has anyone scared you in the end, or maybe not even scare, but who do you think is probably the biggest threat to the Vikings in the NFC North?
Week 7 at home against the Eagles. I was just kind of looking stuff up. They play often, but they don't always play each other like the Seahawks and the Vikings do, apparently. Since I've been born, which was 1990, the Vikings are 5-11 against the Eagles, including a brutal playoff loss that people our age haven't forgotten. Yeah, they're 0-4 against them in the playoffs in their career too, which I thought was interesting. I think finally, though, with what I talked about earlier, they can actually match up to the Eagles. Like the last couple of years when we had to play them on those primetime games, I'm like, good luck. Like, because they've been so stout at where their trenches have been built for a handful of years. Like, shout out to Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell. Like, they've built those teams good lately. There's a reason they've been at the top the last couple of years. And yeah, it's the Eagles, I'd say. If we can beat them at home at week 7, then that could go a long way towards postseason stuff. And like, if they're both tied at, let's say, 14-3, and they get to play in Minnesota in the playoffs against the Eagles, like, wow. So, yeah.
Huge rubber match. Yeah, huge stipulations to your point, that if they do end up finishing with the same record, a head-to-head is going to be pretty big there. The NFC is still pretty wide open. I don't, even though the Eagles are probably the odds-on favorite, second place or even still the top spot in the NFC North, like there's 5 teams that you could see realistically being in that mix. So I think that part's also super interesting for the Vikings. Taking a look, or not even taking a look, because we kind of talked on the state of the NFC, but Austin, any other hot takes, any other shout outs you'd love to give here on Vikings Vent Line?
I want to say I fear the Rams.
Okay.
I think that they are a team that is going to be like another juggernaut year. Their record doesn't reflect how good they were, and I think that we kind of showed in that first playoff game how good they were. But so I think that's just my take. I think I am maybe a little more afraid of the Rams than I am the Eagles for that 1 seed. So no, that's what I'll take. And then you said shout outs at all, or
any shout outs?
I want to shout out. I'll send it back to you guys. I appreciate, Dex, we were talking off mic about, or off camera on the, just busy time it is for Minnesota sports right now.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of all the Minnesota sports except for the Wild. And like, even like I was like watching the Wild, Judd's hockey shows and like the shows around that. So I'm fully invested, and like y'all allow me to be able to do that. When I moved here like 2 years ago, I had a good amount of context for Minnesota sports because I was a fan, and I'd been listening to y'all's show for forever. So I just want to say thank you for pumping out the content. It's great. I'm gonna be catching up on on my other screen here. I've got the Minnesota Timberwolves need to shake up their rotation. I'm gonna be listening to while I finish out some office work. But
nice.
No, I just want to say thank you to y'all. This has been fun. It was nice to get away from the moving mindset.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, hey man, appreciate those kind words. Justin, how about you though? Any other final takes that are on your chest here? Any shout outs you'd love to give? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, shout out to my partner Michelle. She's got the kiddo and is like heading up with a load of stuff so I could do this. So thank you, Michelle. And it's been quite the year. He's like 8 months old now, so it's just been a lot going on. But thank them both, and you guys too. Like Austin said, you guys are amazing. Like, oh yeah, it's been awesome. Like, it was the first year of O'Connell's season when I started watching Purple Daily. It's just like perfect timing, I felt like, for finding this. I'll give like my last take out there. I'm trying to resonate with JJ McCarthy, and like as a whole, as he becomes the leader of the, it's not like a competition. Like, thank you, Sam Howell, for showing up to be QB2 and go through quarterback school of O'Connell. I think we should like just all like absorb the springtime where it's like a new start. And like, I've been thinking about, because of that first game, like that's back when Zimmer had just gotten going in his regime. Like, let's just forgive our Vikings of the past. They tried so hard, and like going forward, like, it's good, positive vibes. I feel like with O'Connell, I feel like Kwesi learned from the draft. Like, I was expecting lots of like drafting just from maybe Spielman like times, but like he did what he needed to do this draft. Like, I feel like it was an amazing draft just from my angle personally. And yeah, I think it's time for a good positive start for the Vikings to go chase that championship now.
Hell yeah. I love that. Well, guys, appreciate you coming on Vikings Vent Line here. And again, if anyone listening, watching, you want to join the show, hit me up. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. For Austin, Justin, I'm Declan. Purple Daily. This is Daily Vikings Entertainment, where we just want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before we die.